Hey y'all,
What's going on, everyone?
I'm Jay,
And I'm Chris the Bird Nerd.
and we
We
are
are the
the
Bird
Bird
Brains.
Brains. Oh, that one sounded
Cheers.
too good. It's gonna be off. Yep, cheers.
we,
There you
I
go.
think
I'll
we
flip
had
it
someone
around here.
on our last podcast drop a comment of like, you guys basically need to change this up because it's awful. And I'm like, yeah, that's the whole point of it. I think it's
My,
we know it's awful, we understand it, but we also know that it's kind
it's
of
a
funny
dad
too.
joke.
So,
It's a
yeah,
dad joke.
exactly.
We're dads. It's a
Yeah.
dad joke. Yeah, my wife said she did say her comment first. She said you need to stop doing that, and I was like, yeah, we're not stopping. And then she goes, okay, well, at least do it faster. I was like, all right, maybe I'll try to
Okay,
speed it up.
maybe, all right, maybe next time we'll do it faster and see if you guys like that.
Yeah, that's right. So yeah, I
We do listen to our wives.
got my birds of a feather. I got one of my it's a little
Oh,
small in here, but one
nice.
of my zebra finch pairs on here.
Love that. You need
Just
to
being in love.
put on the bottom, stick together. Birds of a feather, stick together.
Oh, I
Off of
should have got it
Rio.
on the bottom. I've got it's got the Javieri
That's sweet,
here
man. I
and
love that.
then Ryan.
Get Ryan. Good
Yeah.
old Ryan.
Yeah, great bird.
My
God, a
kids
beautiful bird.
fight. My kids fight. I only have the one mug. I need to just order some more because
Stocking
every morning.
stuffers for
Yeah,
Christmas.
and it's not even for like hot chocolate or anything. It's like anytime they want to drink, they're looking for the Bird Nerd or Bird Brains mug, so it's kind of funny.
Yeah, I
But
need to get more shirts. I need to get a hat. I got to get a bunch of stuff. And I've got this is kind of a secret that I'm revealing here on the podcast, actually. So it kind of ties into what we're going to talk about today. So I have a special shirt that is the Javieri staff, and I'm really strict about it. If you help me, you're eligible for that shirt. Like my brothers-in-law helped me build the aviary, so they get those shirts. Or like my mom has put up with like me buying birds where she lives and like having them at her house, over it for a couple nights, stuff like that. So, like my wife, obviously eligible. Like my mother-in-law, when she watches the kids here when I'm out of town or we're out of town, she feeds the birds every morning. She gets one, but like my father-in-law doesn't help, so he doesn't get one. Um, so I'm like really
I
strict.
love
Like
that.
you have to actually earn it. You have to have
I,
done something to help. Like you're eligible now, but
I
there.
need to
So I
do something like that.
Yeah. So it's like a special way of me, and I give them out as like Christmas presents or something like that. It's a special way of me like recognizing like thanks for your actual help. Um, and I have that. I use Spreadshop to do that, but I don't have that for sales. Like you can't buy the J Staff T-shirt; you have to earn it. But I need to do another run of them here in a minute. So
I know. I've actually
I'm gonna
been
go on a merch spree in a minute.
I've been thinking of putting a few more different designs out there and whatnot. It's just finding time to do it. It's that's a definite side piece outside of even just taking care of the birds and doing these videos. That we like to do. But
I tell you
maybe
what,
we'll.
if you want more merch, get in the comments.
I
Maybe
was
we'll do a
just gonna say
giveaway.
that. Yeah, I was gonna say what. Yeah, drop something down in the comment. I don't know. Tell us what your favorite podcast episode has been so far, and maybe we'll select a few random winners and send out some merch to you guys.
Yeah, and I still owe. I've got to do it. Yeah, I've just been absolutely swamped. Paul Jansen, if you're watching, I owe you a nest, and I'm very sorry that I haven't sent it to you yet. You also live in Australia, so I got to figure out how to do that. But he says it's
It
easy,
might
but I just
it,
got.
it might come
I
next
got to do
year.
the
So
research. Yeah, I got to do the research. I'm going to send him more than one, is what I'm going to do. I'm going to send him, and I'm very sorry. Here's a couple.
there you go.
But yeah, I gotta get that done. But yeah, so let me ask you, let's start it this way, Chris. Let me ask you a loaded question. How many birds do you
Yeah.
have right now?
Oh my gosh. Well, I did just sell a bunch. So I've last month was at about 100 and I think I counted 136 birds, and now I'm down to 107. So
Okay.
107 birds is what I have right now.
So
How
I've got
about you, Jay? How many you got?
123 unless some have hatched uh, this evening, which is not impossible at all. I have some that are due.
I
So,
guess I didn't count chicks in the nest. If I'm counting chicks in the nest, I'm probably at like
oh yeah.
115.
Yeah,
Got
yeah,
quite a
I'm
few
counting
babies right
chicks.
now.
I for sure count. So actually, it's kind of funny. So I have a like a running tabulation I keep on my phone of like what pairs I have that are up. Like I have a male and a female and they're good, or down. Like I only have a female and I need a male. Like, and then I
Uh-huh.
count chicks, but I only count chicks once I see that they've been fed. So I have like a
Oh,
little
nice.
check box that I can check or not check, and I don't. I feel like I'm very superstitious, so I feel like I'm jinxing them if I count them before they're being fed. So once I've seen the food in the crop, then I count them towards that 123. So
Oh,
the reason
okay.
I ask that is because today's topic is how do you explain this hobby to somebody that doesn't keep birds, doesn't know. If you tell, like, for instance, if I look somebody in the face first time I meet them and I say I have 123 birds, I don't know what they picture, but I'm pretty
Oh man.
sure it could be on an episode of A&E,
They
right?
picture the worst case scenario, nothing but disgusting stacks of cages in your house. It smells awful. It looks awful. You look like a hoarder.
It's a
That's what goes
biohazard.
through their minds, and just you can just see it on their face. Their eyes get big, and they don't want to be rude, but and they're like, "Oh, okay," but they're
Mhm.
thinking like, "Oh my gosh, this guy's a psycho. He's got 100+ birds. Like, where's he keeping all these?" That's usually what goes through most
I
people's
think they
minds when I
picture
tell them.
the homeless lady from Home Alone that has all the pigeons all over her and the bird poop. I think that's what they picture.
Yes.
Um, yeah, and so I guess I'll say that. So the first thing I do is I just don't tell people.
Yeah.
I just don't tell
Yep.
people, that's like, I guess a funny way to say it would be it's not a first date conversation.
No,
I don't ever go,
absolutely.
"Hi, I'm Jay. I have 123 birds. Very nice to meet you." Um, the the other thing I try to do is immediately I say two things. I clarify that they're all very small and they're outside. They're
Yep.
not in my house. And then I also try very quickly to show them my social media.
Yes.
And that's for two reasons. One, I have 20,000 some followers on Instagram, so that immediately very legitimizes you because anyone's like, well, if you got thousands of people, then something cool is happening. And then my
Yeah.
birds are pretty, right? So it's like,
Yeah.
no, look here, see, I'm not crazy. Like I have this beautiful aviary. And then
Yep.
people are like, oh, this is the reaction I then get is, oh, this is really cool, which is like the
Yeah.
180. But if you
Yep.
just tell somebody you have 123 birds and walk away, they're like, I'm never going to that guy's house.
Usually the first reaction that I get, Jay, and this is I follow a very similar method. So I just celebrated my 5-year mark at my work this week actually, and my immediate team. I mean, these are like people that I work with and see every single day. They didn't
Hmm.
know that I had any type of bird until about 4 years that I had worked at the company. Because I don't really share it unless people ask me. And live
Same.
and at first they were like, oh, and then same, showed them the social media and pictures of my birds and the setup, and we try to keep them, nice, clean as we can, organized. We've got a process there, a system, and then they think it's really cool. And no lie, oh, like I've had 3 different people just this week from my hospital of 800+ employees come up to me and be like, dude, I love the pictures of your birds that you're posting on social media. I'm like, oh, you follow me? He's like, yeah, I found out you had birds and I had to go on and follow, and like they love it and they think it's really cool. So it's pretty cool to like see the first initial response, and it's kind of the doom and gloom thoughts of, oh man, this guy's a psycho. And then it goes
Hmm.
to, wow, this is really cool. And then it goes to, man, I never would have pictured you having birds, because I don't even though we're talking about it here in public, like I don't really share that unless someone asks me. And it really surprises people, and they're like, I never would have imagined that or pictured that. And so it's kind of cool to see that. And then it gets fun because then they ask questions out of curiosity. And then it's really fun to like educate them and show them that it's really cool. And even though birds are messy, you can get some freaking awesome birds and have a good time with them and do some pretty cool things with them.
Yeah, and I mean, yeah, that's kind of the natural progression I get to. And in fact, I get the one step further, and I know you do too, of like people come to me with bird problems, but
Yeah.
not like, hey, I have Gouldian finches, how do I breed them? Like I had my boss called me a couple weeks ago and he said, hey, I've got all these chimney swifts that are like wrecking the side of my house. How do I prevent that? And like as much as I know about bird breeding, I also know how to stop birds from breeding. So
Yep.
we solve that. But it's like, so that's the fun part for me is like, have you ever heard like, I got a guy for that, right? Like, oh, you need
Uh-huh.
your tires replaced. I got a guy. It's like, I'm a lot of people's bird guy. So it's like,
Yep.
oh, I
Same
got a
here.
bird question. I'm calling Jay,
I
right?
can't
And
tell you how
like,
many times I've got calls to like rescue quail chicks that have like fallen in people's window wells, because here in Utah we have basements, so your house goes below the ground, and so you have these window wells that birds fall into. And
mhm,
so I got that all the time. My wife's uncle, he used to live here in Utah with us. They just moved out to North Carolina. And he sent me a bunch of videos. Hey, what kind of bird is this? It sings really cool,
yep.
and it's awesome. It's a bunch of mockingbirds and some other things that he's listening to. And I'm like, oh, that's really awesome. So it's like, yeah, people are always reaching out. Hey, what kind of bird is that? But then also on the other end, my wife always makes fun of me. Doesn't matter where we're at outside, whether I'm driving or we're sitting on a porch somewhere. If I see any type of movement in the sky, I'm like looking and trying to,
Bird,
okay,
bird,
what kind of bird,
bird.
what kind of bird is this, and guessing that. And she just laughs and shakes her head, because it's like legit like squirrel, and you're like looking around, and she just makes fun of me because I just lose.
Shiny penny, shiny penny.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
lose attention so fast if there's a bird anywhere, even if I'm like driving, and she's like, "Pay attention to the road. I don't want to die." It's pretty funny, but
Mhm. Yeah, and my kids do it now too, which is fun. So I'll be like my daughter will be like, "Daddy, bird," or my son will be like, "Bud, bud," and then like we all got to go look. So yeah, very familiar with that. And I will say this, I admit, I'll admit, and you don't have to if you don't want to, but like it is a little crazy,
oh,
right?
it's weird. I'll be honest. Yeah, it's weird
Yeah,
when you say
yeah,
that. I mean, you can see the wheels turning in their head of like, what got you to this point right now, And yeah, I think that's why I don't share it as much. Um, because I do know, I mean, there's lots of people that don't like birds, that have a big fear of birds, and so I don't share it unless they are curious, or the topic comes up, and I usually don't share the amounts of details that we're sharing here, unless they keep asking questions, and and ask
yeah.
more
That's
about it.
right.
But yeah,
I basically say, yeah, here's my social media. They're all real small. They're all outside. Try to include the fact, and this is true, you could absolutely come to my house, have dinner, spend the night even, and not know I have birds.
yeah,
So
yeah, same here,
I,
100%.
yeah, I try to kind of like, okay, moving on, unless they're like, wait, what? Show me more. What's this bird? Then we can talk about it. And I mean, obviously I love talking about it, but it's definitely, yeah, people I think picture the worst, and I don't want to
Yeah.
be ostracized by my friends and neighbors. So
I will
it
say
it's definitely an addiction.
yeah, yeah. My brother, my older brother that has birds with me, we our phrase always is the addiction is real. Because we're always
Hmm.
talking about, oh man, we need to get rid of our zebra finches because we're running out of space. And then it's literally like the next sentence we're like sending pictures of like a cool mutation of a zebra finch. Man, I need this. It's like the addiction's real.
I had
And
a
so,
sweet pied pop out this or
oh,
last
did you?
week.
Was it from
Yeah.
my mail?
No, no.
Okay.
It'll be from my other mail. And so I got two new hens. I had the mail, and then you sent me a mail. But before your mail got out of quarantine, that mail knocked up both hens. So,
That's
um,
awesome.
and I don't. They're both all white females. One has a little bit of very faint barring, but I can't. I'm really genuinely not sure, and they're all related, so I'm not gonna like try to make
Yeah.
pairs out of them or anything. But I'm actually not sure which hen has the pied gene, but we're gonna find
Oh, there you
out.
go.
So either your male, so either I'm gonna have crested pieds or not, but we'll find out soon because
Because I do.
they're definitely paired up and breeding together now.
So the clutch that male came from, it wasn't necessarily pied, but it was kind of like a saddleback. So one of the females that came out was a white with kind of like the gray saddleback,
Hmm.
which was completely different. So it wouldn't surprise me, which is in line with the pied gene. So it wouldn't
Right.
surprise me if it came from that. But your male you sent me, he's got 5 chicks in the nest right now. So
Oh, nice.
he's
That's
he's
awesome. I
knocking it
love
out of the
that.
park. He's doing a great
I
job.
love
So
that.
and
Yeah,
he's
the
actually 4 of them are his, and then he's got one that's from my dominant silver male. They're not very good parents, so I plucked their chick and threw it
he's a
in with them,
foster.
and he's fostering it. So
Yeah, he's a good dad. Um, no, that's fun. No, this bird was so pied that I actually thought it was a society baby for a second. I was like, where did that bird come from? And then I realized there's another one in the same clutch that's less pied, but this bird, I mean, he looks almost army camo, but like white,
yeah,
white,
it's
gray,
awesome.
white, gray, white, gray. He's really, I don't need a third pair of zebra finches, but it's tempting to keep him or her. I don't
Oh
know the
man,
sex. I'm
well,
assuming male based on the coloration, but I don't know.
probably yeah.
They're starting to color up now, so I'll know soon. But if anybody's in the market for a really, really good pied zebra finch, Jay's your boy. But
I love it.
yeah, so I think we can wrap this one up. But I'm sure a lot of you listeners out here are struggling with this, and I think what we're really getting to is we don't really have a good answer either, and we just don't tell people. Um, we just
And,
kind of try to glaze over it and move
and,
on. It could be
and
worse. We're not serial killers.
right, I think Jay. You've got specific, you've got people that are, big dog people. You got people that are cat people. You got people that are bird. You got people that are reptiles or all the above, right? They just love all animals. And you've got so many different levels of different types of people that bird keep. You've got the people that maybe have one giant macaw inside their house, and that's their bird. You've got people like us that have an aviary in the backyard and have 100 different birds, but it really, it's secluded. They've got a big area in the backyard.
Mhm.
You could come inside my house and never know that I have a bird. Probably my favorite thing, Jay, is when people that don't know that I have a bird come over to my house and they go into my backyard. And like they're like, "Oh my gosh, this is the coolest thing ever." Because they do try and make it really pretty. That was the deal that my wife said. She said, "Keep them out of sight and out of mind, and I don't want it to be a sore thumb." So I had to make
Same
it
exact conversation.
and so that was my compromise of, okay, I'm gonna have a bunch of birds, but I'm gonna keep it in the backyard. I'm gonna keep it well maintained. My aviary looks nice. We've got live plants in there. Like when people come over to our house, they go and they just sit next to the aviary and they just hang out and watch the birds and listen to them. My neighbors all the time are like, I love waking up and hearing your birds sing and peeking over the fence and just watching them. Um, so there's some really cool things. That's my favorite part of it is surprising people, and then when they really see what we have, and I don't know if you're going to post this one, Jay or me, but we should put a couple pictures of our
Mhm.
aviaries in there so people can see what we're talking about. That is my favorite part. That's the best thing. And then when people leave, it's like what I've experienced at work, this week. Just random people out of nowhere, like, man, I love your birds. I love what you're doing with them and the posts that you're doing, and it's really cool. So I think that's the part that drives me and makes the hobby worth it and fun because it's an educational piece for me to share with others. But then it's also kind of different, you know. You don't you could go to probably a quite a large mile circumference from your house, and there's probably not very many other people out there that have a big aviary in their backyard with a bunch of birds. So that's kind of unique with it as well.
Yeah, there's only a couple people around me in the whole city county area that really lower Alabama that have it. But and I love that moment you're talking about of the oh wow when they round the corner and see it. That is awesome. And
Uh-huh.
then another huge favorite of mine is every once in a while that bites somebody hard enough to where they say like, okay, I got to get
Uh-huh.
birds. And it's like here's my favorite one. So my next door neighbor or two, she's really two over, but she's a little old lady, and her name is actually, I won't say her first name, but her name is Mrs. Finch. And she has a yard guy. She's a very old lady, so she can't maintain her yard. She has this yard guy, David, very nice guy. And I had some problem, like a tree or something I couldn't get by myself. So one day when he was working on her yard, I just said, hey, can I give you a little money and you help me with this? And he came, super nice, helped me. And saw the aviary, and then, oh, what's that? And then he said, my grandson would really like that. So he ended up getting a budgie for me. And then
Nice.
3 or 4 months later, knock on my door, and sure enough, there's David. Says, can I get another one? Say we've got the other one, we love it. We just want two. So every once in a while, and I've had a
Yep.
couple of people that's happened to, and I also like every year at my church, we have the church school, we have like a fundraising auction. I donate a bird every year,
Oh,
and
cool.
actually I did two this past year. Um, and it always the first year my wife was like, "You're gonna do what?" And it was like they do a really smart thing. They set it all up, and then right before school ends for the day, they parade all the kids through, and it's like a silent
Nice.
auction with drinks and a live band. It's really fun.
Uh,
But so that each kid fills out a wish list of what they want, and then the parents like get guilt tripped, like, "Daddy, Daddy, I want this," right? And the first year and every year since that we've done it, every single kid puts bird first, is the feedback I got. Every single kid was like, "I want the bird."
that's
So, and there's like a
awesome.
puppy, there's all kinds of stuff, and the bird wins every
Yeah.
time. So it does, you know, it does sort of cause some branching out, this conversation of, you have what? But
Yeah.
yeah, for the most part, try to kind of just glaze over and not tell people.
Yeah, and we're wrapping up here. Drop your stories down in the comments below. What are your
Mhm.
experiences that you've had with people coming over and seeing your birds? Whether you just have a single cage in your house, or you got an aviary in your backyard, we'd love to hear them. I think this is a good family community of birds, and we'd love to hear you guys' stories. And we've already heard some of them throughout these last few weeks, branching out with some of our other breeders that follow us. But yeah, drop some comments down below. Let us know your experiences, and are you open to explaining to people if you have birds in the first place and why? Or is it they just come over to your house and then they see them and then it sparks the conversation? So
Yeah, I'd love to hear about it. Drop in the comments and let us know. Did we talk about the giveaway last episode or no? Beginning of this episode, right?
beginning of this one, yeah.
Yeah, so get in there. Whoever, basically, we're going to be completely unfair here. Just whatever comment makes Chris and I the happiest
Yeah,
is, or the or
be
the
creative.
the top couple are getting some merch. So get in there and impress us. We'll get something headed y'all's way. This is
Yes.
a fun one, short one. Um, so, we'd love to hear y'all's thoughts. Always, if you got new topic suggestions, anything. Chris, where can they find you?
Yeah. Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Bird Nerd. So, Bird Nerd for all of them. Please drop some comments, reach out to me. Love interacting and communicating with you guys. That's probably the one thing that I, look forward to, outside of seeing my family, my kids. This is like the next best thing that I love doing, and hearing your guys' stories, answering questions, education, sharing feedback, all that. So love to do that and appreciate you guys' comments and the feedback that you give to us. So Jay, how about you? How can they reach you?
I'm the Javiary, or the underscore Javiary, and that's Jayviary, which my sign is actually, I think my sign has an apostrophe. I don't actually use an apostrophe anywhere because most of them you can't use that kind of
Yeah.
character. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, Threads, which sucks. I'm on YouTube. I'm on Reddit. Um, Try really hard to respond to all of them. I travel a lot for work, so sometimes when I'm traveling, it's really easy for me. Sometimes if I'm really busy, it's not. But I try to get back to everybody quickly. Um, love helping y'all. Love all the feedback we've been getting. We really appreciate it. Thanks so much.
Yes.
And we'll catch you in the next one.
See you guys.